Hello and welcome to today's BITRIX24 webinar, Perfect Project Management. Thank you very much for joining today. Okay, so let's just go through some introductions. So who are we? So I'm Sam Connor, Sales Manager here at Interface, and we're BITRIX24 Gold Partners. And we're based in the UK, the US, and Hong Kong. And we offer a full range of services to assist you with BITRIX24, starting off with pre-sale support so we can analyze your requirements and see if BITRIX24 could be a good fit for what you're trying to achieve. And if it is, we can then build out the customizations that you require so BITRIX works exactly how you need it to work. If you're interested in the self-hosted option, we can provide our hosting service, and we also provide ongoing dedicated support and proactive advice to help you get the most possible value out of the BITRIX24 system. Okay, so first of all, if you're joining today's webinar to maybe get some more information about what BITRIX24 is as a whole, let's just talk about what BITRIX24 is. So BITRIX24 is a collaboration suite of well in excess now of 35 different tools and modules that you can use to help you to manage your business. There are now over 15 million organizations around the world that use the BITRIX24 system. And it's available in two different editions. So we have the BITRIX24 Cloud and we have the BITRIX24 self-hosted solution. And in terms of pricing, so prices start from $49 per month for a basic cloud tier. Now, as we go through some of the perfect project management features today, you'll find you need to be on certain tiers of BITRIX. Most likely you'll need the professional cloud or the enterprise cloud or any of the on-premise systems. But we'll point out as we go through the webinar today what areas of the product you need a certain tier of license. And then for an on-premise version, that starts at 3,590 US dollars in year one. And then in year two and ongoing annually, you'll pay a 50% renewal fee on that license. Okay, so today's webinar is Perfect Project Management. So we're going to be talking and looking at all of the functionality for projects inside BITRIX24. Now, as we go through today's webinar, if you have any questions, you can add them into our chat area here. We're live on YouTube. So if you have questions, add them into there and let's have a conversation. We can go through those questions. But just to cover kind of what some of the core areas are of the project area of BITRIX. So we've got project work groups. So this is where we can store information about our projects. You've got a really powerful task management tool. So you can assign tasks, you can track and manage the workloads of your teams inside BITRIX. We've got some really powerful automations as well. And we'll see quite a new area within the system now is how we can create and link projects in the CRM system. So when you're progressing your sales opportunities, winning those orders, you can then generate our project inside the CRM. We'll have a look at some of the workload management features, such as the involvement chart, and then we'll look at the Gantt charts and some of the reporting functionality inside the system as well. Okay, so we'll start off looking at project groups. So this is the first area where we can see how you can create your own work groups inside the BITRIX24 system. So let's jump into our BITRIX system here. Okay. So what we'll look at first, we're going to go into our tasks and projects module. And if I just explain this, I am on an on-premise version of BITRIX here, but what we're looking at here, it's all available on the cloud versions from the basic, but I'll point out when we're going to start looking at some of the features only on the professional and above features of the platform. And this is on the browser. Now, if you're new to Bitrix and you're currently evaluating it, there is also a desktop application and there is a mobile app as well. Okay. So inside tasks and projects, if we click into our project area, then what we can see here, I can see all of the projects that I am part of inside my Bitrix. So every project you run in Bitrix, you can create your own separate project area where we store all of the tasks, all of the documents, all of the communication with the project team. It's then saved in its own private area of the Bitrix platform that you can see here. Okay. And you can put permissions in place on all of this information to ensure only the most relevant people of the Bitrix platform have access to that functionality. Okay, so first of all, let's take a look at how we can create our own projects. But if I just show you here as well in this table, as an admin, I can customize the UI here and I can change what information we want to show here on the project. And you've got a filtering tool. So I might want to drill down, maybe based on the tags that we've got on our project. So you can tag projects and then roll up information. So if we click on create, then you can see here, okay, we've got two different types of projects that we can create. So you've got project and you've got work groups. So this is really important to understand. So take notes on this section. So the difference is on a project, you have time parameters. So you have a start date and you can have an end date as well. And any tasks within that project, they can't surpass the end dates of the project. So you've got time parameters. Whereas a work group, there don't need to be any time parameters on a work group. So it's simply where you can bring people together, manage tasks, and manage the workload. And a very good example of a work group is you might have a department work group. Okay, you're a department in a business. There's no time parameter on that department. It's forever ongoing. But you would have all of the tasks associated to that department within its own work group. So let's first now create a new project inside the system. So let's first give this a name. Okay, so you can add a title and then a description. Okay, and then we can also add a theme as well. So you can change the colors of the background for this project. Then we can go into our dates area. So I mentioned about having dates on your projects. So inside here now I can give the project a start date and an end date. And I can also tag this. So let's say if I know this is part of our sales team who completed the order, then we can tag sales in here. And then you've got features. So you can turn on and turn off different features inside your projects. And this is really customizable. So every project that you add into Bitrix, you can turn on and turn off these features. This doesn't then apply to every project. So it's very customizable on every project that you run. So I know I want to create tasks on here. So I'm going to turn on the task feature and we'll also turn on the drive area because I want to store documents. Okay. You can always come back to this as well in the future. And you can see a feature down here called external users. So I just want to point this feature out to you. So with the external users, what this does is if I tick this, it means we can invite external people outside of our Bitrix ecosystem into this BITRIX24 project. They won't have access to any other areas of the Bitrix platform. They would just have access to the projects, and you can then control the permissions to control what they're able to do inside that project. Okay, and then finally here we can add the different layers of ownership on the project. So we can add the project owner, we can add moderators. That's almost like your middle layer of management. And then we can add the other employees who are going to be working on the project. And you'll see shortly, we can then assign access levels on those different layers of ownership. Okay, so we're going to finish now create project. So that's been created successfully. So we can see the task area. We can then also see the drive area as well. So we can start to add documents into here. So that's now a set up, ready to use project in our BITRIX24 system. And that will then be accessible inside here. So we can see the client 3 CRM setup project. And you saw how earlier on I created a project. And you saw how earlier on I created a tag. So I could also filter down and see it inside the system here. Okay, so let me just reshare. I think the screen has just stopped. So 1 second. Okay, you should now be able to see the screen again. And if you have any questions, please do start to add them into our question area. There we go. I think the screen's now back and available. So let's go into a project that we are currently live and working on day to day. So inside the project here, I can see all of the tasks that are being worked on. And that's really a fundamental area to projects inside BITRIX. You need to be able to manage all of the different tasks that are being created. So for your tasks, what's really nice within BITRIX, there's lots of different ways you can view tasks inside the system. So here from a table view that you can customize and you can filter through. So it's easy to drill down into task information. We have the Kanban view. So here in each project, you can create different stages for progressing the tasks associated to the project. UI, easy to navigate through the system. There's also the deadline view. This is probably my favorite view, the view I use myself. So this automatically then puts the tasks into the relevant time placeholder here based on the deadline of the task. So you instantly here get that overview of what needs to be prioritized, what's overdue, what's due today, what's due this week. It gives you that clear visibility as to what needs to be worked on within the project as an attempted manner of process here. So you can see here the different stages that we've got for the planner view. So this is customizable down to the individual users who are actually working on the project. So if I create, say here, I've got a Friday meeting, right? Okay, so those stages here, I need to set up myself. But if somebody else on this project is using the planner view, then they can set up their own stages here as well. So each planner is personalized to the individual user. We've also got a calendar view. So inside here, you've got a calendar display where we can see the deadlines of our tasks. And in any of these pages, you can click in to that task and it will open up the task page with all of the information. And then we've also got a Gantt chart view as well. So we've got a Gantt chart to give a high level overview of the tasks. And again, in all of these areas, you can filter through this information. So if I wanted to drill down to what's overdue, let's do that. And I can then see that information very clearly through the system. Okay, so that's how we can manage tasks in the project. But of course, there's much more in a project that we can utilize. So we've got the feed area. So in here, we've got an overview of all the communication log. So in here, you can post out messages to the rest of the team who are working on the project. Okay, so I can post this message out. So instead of using emails or external channels, you can manage all of the communication with the project team through here. So it's your own personalized newsfeed board for the project. Any updates, any comments added to tasks, it's going to all be visible inside the feed. We've also got a chat system. So here you can do instant chats with the rest of the project team. We've also got video calling, so you could do video calls with the rest of the project team. You can do voice calls. So really, Bitrix enables you to have all of that different communication dialogue saved inside that project. So each channel you can set up for the projects. There's also a drive area. So this is really nice if you want to store documents for the projects, and you can put permissions in place to control, even in the project, who's able to access, who's able to read, who's able to maybe share it themselves. So you've got all of that information on the document saved. And I can upload more documents into the system here. There's also a calendar. So again, to store company-wide meeting projects. So if you got maybe sprints or meetings for that project, that can all be synced and saved inside the system here. And then we also have lists. So again, this is a professional cloud feature. So lists enable you to create tables of information connected inside the project. So for example, here we have expenses. So these are all the expenses associated with the project. So we've got all of that information saved here. And you can then also run business processes on this data. So here, for example, we've got a flight. So we can see the expense, and we can then send that for an approval through the system. Okay, so that is a look at projects inside Bitrix. As I say, if you have any questions, please do add them into the question box as we go through the rest of today's webinar. Okay, so let's just take a look if there are any questions. Okay, yeah, so is there a limit to the number of projects that I can create? No, is the answer. So there is no limit to the number of projects that you can create inside Bitrix. The limitation really is going to be on the storage. So once you're obviously creating projects, there's going to be a lot of data with tasks or documents as well, if you're going to be storing documents inside the system. So that's what you'll need to look at, is how much storage am I using up on my projects, okay? But there is no limit to the number of projects that you can create. Okay, so moving on now to look at some of the powerful automations that we have in projects on BITRIX24. So we've seen how I can create a project manually inside the system. What I want to show you now is how, using a feature called Smart Process Automation within the CRM area, we can actually automate the creation of a project and have it connected inside the CRM system. So you can see here, we've got a projects area in our CRM. So here, what we've got, using the Smart Process Automation feature, so you need to have at least a professional cloud edition of BITRIX24. Each one of these here is a project that we're working on. So inside here, I can click into the project. I can see all of the information here about my project that we're working on, the customer's record, see all of the updates of information, and we can then link this with a work group where we store all of the tasks and data connected. But so you've got that entity, the project entity built into the CRM system, and it's connected to the client's record inside Bitrix. And we can then progress our projects through the different stages like so. So if we go into our deals area, then what we can do, let's say on this Techco deal, as an example, I can complete this deal, give it a project number, and now we've got an automation in the background. This is now going to automatically create a new TechCo project inside the project area of our CRM. So if we go into projects now, okay, so we can see just now that TechCo project has been created. So it's automated the creation. It's going to automatically create specific tasks on here and assign those to the relevant team members. So we have that project entity record now created in the system, and it's linked it to the contacts record inside the CRM. So I can click into the customer's profile now, and I can bring up the projects tab, and we can then see that project has now been created and linked to the customer's record. So if you're wanting, and we set this up for many businesses because a lot of businesses have this a very similar process where once you close the sales opportunity, you need to create a project where you then link all of the tasks for that project on the client's work, and you want that linked to the customer's record. Using this feature we have here enables you to do that, and it really essentially enables you to have a complete all-encompassing CRM and project management platform built in one. Okay, so if this is of interest, please do contact us, sales@interface.com, and one of our team will be happy to discuss any questions that you have. So I'm just going to add our email into the chat. And then in another area where we also have automations is actually on the Kanban view inside our tasks. So if we click into our automation area here, so inside here, we've got our project that we looked at earlier on, where we were looking at the different Kanban views. So you've got the Kanban stages here in the automation area. Then what you can do on each stage is you can create automated actions. Okay, so whether that's maybe reassigning the task or triggering a notification to go to a group of people, you can have this information automated. So let's say here, for example, we've got a trigger set up. Okay, so a trigger is going to automatically update what stage this task is at in that Kanban view. So if the task is not completed by its deadline, then it's going to automatically move it with this trigger to the overdue stage. And because it's at that overdue stage, we've then set up a notification. So everyone in this automation here, they're going to be made aware that this task is now overdue. It needs to be urgently prioritized. And we're actually also changing who is responsible. So it's going to go to a more senior manager to actually get that task back on track. So this is another way you can use automations, and this is proactively going to ensure your tasks are completed on time and the work continues in a seamless manner. And we'll just show another area as well. If we bring up the feed, okay, so inside here, another area we could also create projects is through the workflow section. So the workflow business process designer tool available on the professional cloud and above. You could have a form set up here. So a slightly different process where you could fill in this information and that could automatically create you a project inside the workgroup area of BITRIX. So using automations can streamline processes, reduce human interference, really, in human error, and speed up the processes that are otherwise manually triggered inside the system. Okay, so let's look at creating projects, and I just want to show you as well how you create new tasks. So you can click on the create task button. This will open up the task page where you can fill in the information about the task. You can add more detailed description, and you can add documents or links into here. And there's also a checklist, so you can tick off items as they get completed. And what you can do, and we set this up a lot for businesses, you can also save this task as a template. So this information, it's actually available to be used again in the future. And we work with a lot of accountancy businesses. So they need to have tasks that are automatically recreated every month for month end reporting and tax returns. So you can automatically have a task repeating inside the system based on a specific time parameter that you set up. Okay, so that is a look there at our automation areas. So if we just come back into our pages here, let's just see if we have any further questions. Okay, so what tier do I need for the SP? I think you mean SPA process there. So if you want to create the project record inside the CRM, that is the smart process automation feature available from the professional cloud tier and above. So you need to make sure you have the correct tier of license. If you're on a trial right now, you'll be able to see this, but you'll need to then upgrade onto a professional cloud tier. So you need this feature here called smart process automation. Okay, so just to discuss another area really of BitTrix. So I mentioned at the start of today's webinar that you've got two versions. Okay, so you've got the BITRIX24 Cloud and the BITRIX24 self-hosted solution. I just want to go through a few of the additional benefits that you get with a self-hosted. So first of all, you can have a branded portal. So that can be really important if you're going to use the external user feature, okay, where you're going to be inviting your third parties into the system. With a self-hosted, you can brand up the login page. So it's essentially almost like your own branded corporate portal where you're inviting your clients into. You can do more advanced automations, and you can use the source code to create a rule or a process if it's not available as standard with action blocks. And you've also got the page customization features. Okay, so this is a self-hosted version here that you can see. You've got access to a control panel, which you don't have on the cloud tier. So inside here, I can start to edit pages. So if you've got a project section, I could start to edit that page of the project management area and customize it to my specific needs and requirements, and even changing the layout here of the titles on our menu so you can customize it to a lot greater granularity than on the cloud system. And you can also create advanced dashboards as well using that data from BITRIX24 projects. Okay, so that brings us to a close in today's BITRIX24 Perfect Project Management webinar. As you can see here are a couple of our up and coming webinars. So we're here every other Tuesday at usually at 11 a.m. Eastern time. If you have any questions before next week's webinar, you can drop a message to sales@intraface.com, which is on the chat here. So we've just added the email address, and one of our team will be happy to go through your questions and help you with anything related to BITRIX24. Thank you very much for your time today. I hope you found today's session useful, and I look forward to seeing you on our future webinars. Thanks very much. Bye for now.